Hey guys, welcome back to another class preview. This time we're going to be going over the Vengeance Demon Hunter. Now this is going to be my first tanking um, class preview, so we'll kind of see how this goes and kind of see um, if this actually going to be a viable tank spec or if it's going to be like Bear like a few patches ago in Warlords of Draenor. But first of all, we're going to go through the spellbook, then we're going to go over some of the talents, then we're going to finish off with the artifact weapon. So for starting off in the spellbook, we do have Consume Magic is a 20-yard range, instant cast, 20-second cooldown. It's our basic interrupt, interrupts the enemy's spell casting and locks them from casting that School of Magic for 3 seconds. Something to note, this does generate 50 pain on a successful interrupt. This is quite nice actually. Can't wait to get that extra pain. Definitely going to make sure that the tanks are actually in the interrupt cooldown rotation for some fights that need to be kind of blocked spell casting, such as Sakathar. We do have Darkness. Now this is a nice little cooldown. It is on a 3-minute cooldown. It's instant cast, summons darkness around you in a 15-yard radius, cloaking friendly targets and reducing the chance they are hit by spells and melee attacks by 50% for 10 seconds. Now that's a nice cooldown, especially for you and your off tank, because you guys are going to be mostly the ones that are going to be hit. I do like the fact that you can pop a cooldown for your off tank, especially if they're taking a bunch of damage, or pop this for yourself. Or even if it is cleave fight, it does work for both of you at the same time. Next we do have Demon Spikes. This costs 10 pain. It's an instant cast with a 13.7 second recharge. It does have 2 charges. You surge with Fell Power, increasing your parry chance by 20% and reduces physical damage taken by 21% for 6 seconds. Now this does work off of mastery, but we'll go over that in a little bit. This is a very nice active mitigation. You can keep this up almost all the time with exception of 1.7 seconds. So you have crazy amounts of defense against melee attacks, which I guess mostly tanks are taking damage against. We do have Empowered Wards. It's a low cooldown of 30 seconds. It does reduce the magical damage taken by 30% for 6 seconds. Nice little cooldown. There's some talents that kind of affect this and kind of give it a little extra bonuses. But overall, for a 30-second cooldown, I'm not really sure if that the seconds is really on. You do have it up about a fifth at a time, but I guess you kind of have to make a judgment call if you're going to be hit with, say, like a Pyroblast or some big spell that does a lot of damage, that this would be good for. Next we do have Fell Devastation. That's a talent. We'll go over that a little bit later. Next we have Fiery Brand. It's a 30-yard range, instant cast with a 1-minute cooldown. Brand the enemy with a demonic symbol, instantly dealing 82,000 fire damage and reducing the damage they do to you for 40% for 10 seconds. Nice little defensive cooldown. Also gives you some nice damage output as well. They do have some talents that also affect this that do make it spread, so it would be very useful for AoE fights or high damage burst. Now next we do have Glide. Now you can activate this without having to do your good old double jump or triple jump if you like it. It is on 1.5 second cooldown, so be careful that you're not just dropping. Reduces your falling speed. You can activate this ability with the jump key while falling. So that's basically it. But if you're already falling, you can just click the button, or you can use the jump key. Next we do have Immolation Aura. It's an instant cast with a 13.7 second cooldown. Engulf yourself in flames, instantly causing 103,000 fire damage to enemies within 8 yards and radiating 23 fire damage every second for 6 seconds. This does generate 20 pain over 6 seconds. This is a quite nice pain generator, which we're going to be using quite a bit. So this is going to be in your core rotation. Especially helps you get aggro on AoE fights. So this is a awesome talent or awesome spell, and there's also some talents that kind of go into this, but we'll go over that a little bit later. We do have Imprisoned Demon. It's a 20-yard range, instant cast for 10-second cooldown. Imprisons a demon for 1 minute. Damage will cancel the effect. You can only cast this on one target. It's a nice little CC effect. If we're fighting demons, or I think this is mostly for out in the world, but nice little lore nonetheless. We do have Infernal Strike, which is next. You leap through the air towards the target location, dealing 16,000 fire damage to all enemies within 6 yards. Now normally this is on a 20-second cooldown, because the talent does reduce it to 15. It still has 2 charges, so you can kind of bounce around, and it's kind of cool because you get to kind of shapeshift into your metamorphosis form for a few seconds in the air. Next we do have Metamorphosis. It's an instant cast with a 3-minute cooldown. Transform into a demon form for 20 seconds, increasing current and maximum health by 30%. Now this is increased to 45% due to some artifact power points. So it is a very cool cooldown. Cast it here for us. Turn into this giant demon, and you have a load of health up to, I think, 3 million right now. So that is very quite cool. I do like the glowing green off of this. I wonder if it does change with the artifact weapon itself. I would assume not, but it is cool nonetheless. Now we do have Shear. Now this is our main kind of pain generator. It's an instant cast, obviously. It shears the enemy for 47,000 physical damage and has a small chance to shatter a lesser soul fragment from the target, which heals you for 87,000 health when consumed. Now, soul fragments we'll kind of go over a little bit later, but they're basically a way to get back most of your health and get some sustain. Not like demon hunters need help with sustain already, but it also generates 10 pain. So, nice little amount for generation. Now starting on the sigils, we do have sigils of chains. Now place a sigil of chains at the target location that activates after 2 seconds. All enemies affected by the sigil are pulled into the center and are snared, reducing movement speed by 70% for 6 seconds. It's a very nice little kind of, instead of having a DK for all of your pulling needs with that Gorfine's Grasp, you can just kind of do this by yourself. Therefore, it kind of looks like that. After a few seconds, pops, pulls them all in, and bing bang bluesy. We do have Sigil of Flame next. Sigil of Flame at the target location activates after 2 seconds. Deals 56,000 fire damage and an additional 61 fire damage over 6 seconds to all the enemies affected by the sigil. Boom. Nice little effect. Give you some extra fire damage. Fire damage is going to be very useful for demon hunters, but you'll see that in just a minute. Sigil of Silence. It's a 1-minute cooldown. Places a Sigil of Silence at the target location. Activates after 2 seconds. Silences all enemies affected by the sigil for 6 seconds. This is a very useful tool, especially if you're far away. You can kind of cast it wherever you need. Say if a group of mobs or just one mob you're trying to pull in to your group because you're tanking the boss and you can't, you don't have like a death grip or something like that. You can just use this and they'll be silenced and they have to run in. Quite useful tool. But next we do have Soul Cleave. Now this is going to be your main pain spender. It does cost 40 pain. Viciously strike all enemies in front of you for 67,000 physical damage and heal you for 174,000 health. Now this also consumes soul fragments within 20 yards, but soul fragments will still go over a little bit later. Now this is a very powerful heal. Not sure if these numbers are actually correct. If they are, that will be very nice for demon hunters and might actually make me want to play one because their self-sustain is amazing right now. I've tried a few other tanks and they don't have this much sustain, but it could kind of fit into the role of playing a demon hunter, so it could be the same. Who knows? We do have Spectral Sight. It's an instant cast with a 30-second cooldown. Allows you to see through enemies and treasures through the physical barriers, as well as enemies that are stealth and invisible. Last 10 seconds. Attacking or taking damage disrupts the sight. Basically, go like this. You can see enemies through walls. You can see stealth monsters, which is really useful, especially in PvP. I do find this very useful in PvP. I'm not sure if it's going to be kind of even a higher cooldown, just because being able to have this up a third of the time to find rogues or feral druids could be very useful. We do have Throw Glaive. There's a 30-yard range. You throw a demonic glaive at a target, dealing 8,000 physical damage. The glaive will ricochet to 2 additional enemies within 10 yards, generating high threat. Now this is great just for pulling. Get some extra threat on some monsters while you're far away. Has a nice cool spell effect. We do have Torment. It's a 30-yard range, 8-second cooldown. Taunts the target to attack you. And increases threat you generate against the target for 3 seconds. Basic old taunt with the extra threat generation. Abyssal Strike is a passive talent. We'll go over that later. Same with the Agonizing Flames. Now, Demonic Wards. Your tattoos reduce the damage you take, the magical damage you take by 10%, and increase your stamina by 20%, and your armor by 200%. Now, after reading this, I was kind of baffled. I now want to go get some Demon Hunter tattoos on my body. If this is all the all the benefits that are going to come from it, because this is kind of crazy that you just get a base magic damage reduction by 10%. Of course, all tanks do have something along this lines that does increase their stamina or armor, as like a defensive stance, like with warriors, or even bear forms with druids and stuff like that. Next passive is Double Jump. You're able to jump again while near the apex of your first jump. So like so. Nice little cool feature. And you can always hit it again to glide. Even though the wings right now are broken in alpha. But just imagine cool demonic wings coming out instead of that fire aura around me. Now next up we do have our mastery, which is Fellblood. Demonic Spikes, which is the active mitigation right down here. Um, does reduce all physical damage taken by additional 11%. Also increase your attack power by 11% as well. So this is kind of nice, gives you a little bit extra damage, and also a lot additional damage reduction against physical attacks. Next we do have Shattered Souls. Killing a target will sometimes shatter their soul, leaving a soul fragment behind for 20 seconds. Now, soul fragments are very useful for vengeance tanks and even havoc demon hunters. Soul fragments can be consumed when you approach it, healing you for 4,360 life. 400,036,000. I can't even say that number. A lot of life. Basically, is a fourth of your life, which is very powerful. But these are mostly from dead demons. You do get lesser fragments from some of your abilities, such as Shear, which heals you for 87,000. Not as quite as powerful, but still very beneficial. There's also a second effect to this. Consuming a demon's soul will grant you 20% increased damage for 20 seconds. This is very nice, but yet again, only after killing demons. You do not get the effect after like a lesser soul fragment off of Shear. We do have Soul Rending, which is a passive talent, which we'll go over here soon. Now on to the talents. We do have Abyssal Strike, the passive, increase the Infernal Strike's range, increasing it by 10 yards, and reduces the cooldown to by 5 seconds, which reduces it to 15 seconds total, and gives you a nice long jump. We do have the next passive as Blade Turning. It is basically parrying an attack, generates 5 pain. I do see this to be a very good passive. I don't think if it's on the right level, but I think most of these are going to be switched around quite a bit. But next we do have Fracture. This does cost 40 pain. It's an instant cast. Brutally slam your target for 102,000 physical damage and shatter 2 lesser soul fragments. So this is a very nice talent, especially for generating soul fragments, since they do heal you quite a bit. Like I said, you do not get the damage buff off of them, but very useful for self-sustain. Next we do have Agonizing Flames. It's a passive immolation aura, increases your movement speed by 30%, and also deals 100% increased damage. Nice little AoE, get some threat, and also get some movement speed. Quicken Sigils. As a passive, all Sigils have a activate 1 second faster for a total of 1 second delay, and their range is increased by 10 yards. Next we do have Fell Eruption. Impales the target for, well, first of all, it does cost 20 pain and a 25-second cooldown. Impales the target for 287,000 physical damage, which is an amazing amount of damage, and stuns them for 2 seconds. Inflicts additional 100% damage against the against targets permanently immune to stuns. So gives you a little extra against bosses that are not stunnable. We do have Fellblade, nice little charge. It's instant cast with a 13-second cooldown. Charge to your target, deal 91,000 fire damage. Shear also has a chance to reset the cooldown of Fellblade. This also generates 20 pain, gives you a nice little opener, and also kind of a, if you had to run away for a second and then charge back in. But again, you do have Infernal Strike, so you can kind of bounce around the battlefield already. Next passive, we do have Soul Barrier. Consuming a soul fragment while you are at full health grants a shield that absorbs 87,000 damage, lasts for 10 seconds. Nice little passive if you're at full life. It does give you a bunch of damage absorbs. We do have Last Resort, similar to Cheat Death, sustaining a fatal damage, instead transfers you into Metamorphosis. form returns you to 30% health. This effect may not occur every 3 minutes. It can only occur every 3 minutes. Next we do have Spirit Bomb. Launch a friendly nearby soul fragment at your target, exploding for 30,000 shadow damage and a 6-yard radius. Damaged enemies become frail for 10 seconds, increasing your chance to shatter lesser soul fragments from shear. This is a very nice talent. Good for getting a bunch of soul fragments. This could be very good, especially on single target fights. I do find it very nice to help proc some of the other talents down below, but we'll go over that a little bit later. Etched in Blood. Every 20 pain you spend reduces the remaining cooldown of your sigils by 1 second. This is more utility. Don't really find this very useful. But last we do have Soul Rending. Gain 50% leech while in Metamorphosis. This is awesome because you go into Metamorphosis all the time with some of your artifact powers. Gives you some extra healing, which Demon Hunters actually need more self-sustain as is, but if they got it, they might as well use it. Burning Alive. Every 2 seconds, your fiery brand deals 20,000 fire damage and spreads from the primary target to a nearby enemy. Now this talent is very useful if you have large packs of mobs, giving them 40% less damage to you. So it kind of spreads to all of them. Concentrated Sigils, I cannot speak today, is a passive. All sigils are now targeted at your location. The duration of the effects are increased by 2 seconds. Now it just makes all sigils around you. So it's kind of nice if you use them around you in a single fight, but overall not the best, especially in this tree. We do have Feast of Souls. Soul Cleave heals you for additional 80,000 over 6 seconds. Amazing passive, gives you more healing. Brand of the Hunt. 30-yard range, 2-minute cooldown. Brand the enemy with a demonic symbol, increasing the damage you do to them by 10%. At any time you reactivate Brand of the Hunt to immediately teleport to the target. This is very nice if you have to run away sometimes and just teleport back to him. The Sigil of Misery is a 1-minute cooldown. Basically, causes enemies to be feared. I don't see this very quite useful. I guess if we needs more CC in the fight, but next we do have Razor Spikes. As a passive, while your Demon Spikes are active, your physical damage dealt is increased by 20%, and your melee attacks snare the targets for 50% for 6 seconds. Now this is awesome, it just gives you 20% more damage. The only times it's not active is only for 1.7 seconds. So you basically do 20% more damage the whole time. Now this one, Fell Devastation, is amazing. It does cost 30 pain. It is a channeled effect. It does have a 1-minute cooldown. Unleash the Fell within you, damaging enemies directly in front of you for 225,000 fire damage. Also causing damage, heals you for 861,000 life. Now this heal is amazing. With a 1-minute cooldown, you can heal yourself halfway up. Can't really beat this. It is a very nice. It is very similar to I-Beam, but a kind of cool effect as is. Next, we do have Nether Bond. We bind yourself with a friendly target for 15 seconds. Every 1 second, the health and you of your target are redistributed, such as that you are the same percentage of max life. With a 2-minute cooldown. Now this is just the same as Spirit Link, but it gives it to a tank so they can have that kind of help out. Also can put this on your other tank if they need another cooldown. This could be very useful in certain situations. Now we do have a Feed Demon as the last passive. Consuming a soul fragment reduces the remaining cooldown of demon spikes by 2 seconds. Now, at first glance, I did not think this was very useful since it was already up most of the time anyways. So I was like, why do you need to reduce it? Then I have seen some amazing synergy with some of the artifact powers with this, and basically the more parry you get 30% more parry off of one of your artifact powers each time you cast Demon Spikes. So more times you can keep that active, the better. We do have Soul Carver as well as our main ability that we do get from our Warblades. It's a 1 minute cooldown. You carve the soul, carve into the soul of your target, dealing 85,000 fire damage and an additional 92,000 fire damage over 3 seconds. Immediately shatter 2 soul fragments and an additional 1 lesser soul fragment every 1 second for a total of 5 soul fragments, which heal you for 87,000, which is quite a bit of life. So this is a nice little 1 minute cooldown, gives you some extra healing. Now I've looked through some of the trees. They're all passives, but they do quite a bit, like give you extra maximum health and extra bonuses, such as Painbringer. Each soul fragment you consume reduces all damage you take by 3% for 4 seconds. Something to note about this, it does stack. So say when you're popping your Soul Carver, you do get 5 fragments. So you do get 15% less damage for 4 seconds. A very nice little addition, and helps you maintain you picking up more soul fragments. Charred Warblades basically heals you for 15% of all fire damage you deal. Quite a nice, since half of your abilities do work off fire damage. And last but not least, we do have Fueled by the Pain. By Pain. It's a passive. You have a chance to activate Metamorphosis each time you consume a soul fragment. So obviously you'd want to consume more soul fragments. This very much synergizes with Soul Rending, which gives you 50% more leech. So I'm getting amazing amounts of health back, right, in that 5-second gap. But also when I'm hitting Metamorphosis. Now this is the first time I did a tank preview, but overall I think this is a very awesome spec. Makes your tanks run around somewhat like Brewmasters, but also have amazing healing, such as Death Knight tanks, blood tanks. But does have some nice cool effects to it, which are very nice. Gives you some very visual appealing spells. But anyways, this is a kind of the first class preview. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. It is a very fun spec. I can't wait to play it on live. But if we did like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. If we have any questions, please put them in the comment box below. And thank you very much once again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.